Hi there, my name is Cindy James. Welcome to my Encaustic art studio. So today I'm going to show you how I do a nice faded blue sky. I guess they call it ombre these days, but a nice gradation from darker blue at the top to basically white middle of the painting and fading down to a dark blue at the bottom, because I'd like to do a painting that's has a reflection incorporated into it. So I'm basically going to paint the sky and the reflection at the same time. So this is my second attempt at this. The first time I did it, it was too streaky for my liking, so I've just added 3 or 4 layers of white paint to cover up what I did before, and yeah, hopefully we get a better result this time. So for my sky, I'm going to use cobalt blue and cerulean blue. So this is the cerulean blue, and here's the cobalt blue. I really don't need very much, it's a small panel, so I've just melted some on the hot palette, and on this end here I'm going to use a more intense white than what I have, or a more heavily pigmented white than what I have in my pot of white paint. And I'll just get a piece of paper towel ready so I can clean my brush off when I'm done. Anyways, I'm taking my 4-inch brush out of the pot of white paint. I'm just going to clean it off a little bit here so that it doesn't dilute the blue too much. And I'm going to just pick up little bits of the blue and work them into the left-hand side of the brush. I've sort of found that less is more when I do this. The first attempt I got a little too far over into the blue paint, and then I didn't have really much fading towards the middle of this panel. So just be careful you don't get too far into that puddle of blue. And yeah, you can basically see how much you've got right on the palette there. So when you have a nice fade, you can just draw it down over the top of the panel. I like to pull the brush towards me for this technique, but I mean, however you're comfortable. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to flip it around, and I'll do the same on the other side so that I can, like I say, have that reflection when I start to do this painting. And my brush is getting a little bit cool, so I'm just gonna try to warm it up a little. And when I'm happy with that, maybe a little bit darker on the end there. There we go. Yeah, so I'm just gonna clean off my brush and put it back in my pot. I don't get too picky about a little bit of color in my white pot. It tends to become rather golden as the wax gets reheated over and over again, so a little bit of blue probably won't hurt anything, and maybe just counteract that warm white color that it tends to become over time. Yeah, that's pretty clean. I'll just put that back in my palette and clean this off a little bit, and then I can fuse this and get to work. So when you're fusing, especially because I have some color underneath this white, I don't want to be too aggressive, just a very light fuse, because of course if the heat goes too deep, what happens is that any color that's underneath the white will start to bubble up through the upper levels of the paint or the surface. And yeah, you can get some really cool effects, but that's definitely not the goal today. So lots of light passes with the torch is probably my best bet. And just make sure that it's softened and it blends nicely and everything is fused really well. So I tend to, flip things around and do the edges and the sides as I go. So yeah, that's looking pretty good at this point. Not really too exciting to fuse this, but that's about it. that's what I was going for. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll just get ready to paint the rest of this, but maybe I'll give you a closer look first. Thanks for watching. I hope it was helpful.